Welcome, welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez. Joined with me today, we've got Graham Allen back on set.
MLB first baseman.
Sorry, I forgot. First baseman,
if we're gonna talk about it here,
Texas Ranger.
Newest Texas Ranger.
Graham Allen.
They play the Astros today. They start the Astros Rangers series today.
I do appreciate the fact that you have really taken on being a Texan.
Yeah, it's red. It's America colors.
It is. You got here. You immediately went. You got the jersey. We went to the baseball game. You were like, I am all in with
ready.
this Texas thing.
Do this thing. Let's do it.
We've got Eric July in the house as well, a famous YouTube star, Eric July. Thanks for being here.
Oh, absolutely, anytime.
And we've got Aaron Colin from theblaze.com, one of our amazing reporters.
Well, thank you.
So make sure to check him out at theblaze.com. Graham, what's your top story today?
Megan Rapinoe, America's savior of everything that America should be, says that President Trump needs to do a better job.
Okay, well, I can't wait to hear what she has to say. Oh, me too. All right, Eric.
Tulsi actually agrees with Justin Amash in terms of the threat that the two-party system is.
Okay, all right, a lot to get into there. Yeah, Aaron.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has sort of hinted that Nancy Pelosi might be a little racist in all these criticisms that she's throwing.
I love this.
The race card is on the table.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Obviously a lot to get into. First, we want to thank our sponsor, iTarget Pro. So for those of you who are gun enthusiasts, if you have not heard of iTarget Pro, you got to get one. It pays for itself when you talk about going to the range. You've got ammunition fees. All of these add up really quickly, and it gets really expensive when shooting is a hobby. So what iTarget Pro does, they've got a laser bullet, which I love to say. I feel like I need to put my pinky up when I say that. A laser bullet. And they put it in your gun, and it has a specific for your caliber. You put it in, and what it does is you're dry firing. So you're working on your trigger control, you're working on the pull of your gun, but it's nothing's coming out. So the benefit to you is that you can practice dry firing in your home without like shooting holes through your wall, which your spouse will be really excited about. You can go to itargetpro.com, get 10% off plus free shipping right now with promo code NEWS. That is itargetpro.com. You got to go there now. It'll be a great gift for, dad or your husband, whoever it is that's the gun lover in your life. You got to get him one. All right, Graham. Megan, what's her face?
I like that.
Megan, what's her face?
Rosie O'Donnell calls her the real Captain America.
Stop it.
Wow. True story. True story.
Oh.
Yeah. Rosie is one of my favorite people to follow on Twitter for ridiculous things like that.
Yeah.
So there's this picture of her doing this. And it's like the real Captain America.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, out of the entire U.S. women's soccer team, Megan Rapinoe is the only one that matters.
Right,
at the end of the day.
I feel bad for the other
and so CNN and MSNBC and all these people had her on, Rachel Maddow and Anderson Cooper have her on. And it's probably just better just to start with the video. So let's watch a little bit of it.
A good chance the president is watching this interview or will watch this interview. What is your message to the president?
Message to the president.
Think hard.
I think that I would say that your message is excluding people. You're excluding me. You're excluding people that look like me. You're excluding people of color. You're excluding, Americans that maybe support you. I think that we need to have a reckoning with the message that you have and what you're saying about make America great again. I think that you're harking back to an era that was not great for everyone. It might have been great for a few people, and maybe America is great for a few people right now, but it's not great for enough Americans in this world. And I think that we have a responsibility, each and every one of us. You have an incredible responsibility as, the chief of this country to take care of every single person, and you need to do better for everyone.
All right. So first of all, I just want to say it's the president of this country. It's the commander in chief of the military. But semantics at this point, right? So.
But you're acting as if she would have known what she was talking about.
Yeah. So okay. So let's try to dissect all of that. You're excluding people like me. You're excluding people that look like white people. I mean, what are we? You're excluding people of color, which I find absolutely incredibly just an asinine statement. Lowest black unemployment rate in 50 years. Lowest Hispanic unemployment rate ever. Criminal Justice Reform Act signed in. The list goes on and on. Trump is the most pro-gay president we've ever had.
Yes.
He's the first president to ever come just straight out and be like, I love gay people. You know, if you want to get married and be, you know, go do you, be you. What is she talking about? It makes no sense. And I love the fact that she says that people that maybe support you, you're losing to them. No, we support him already because we don't agree with anything that you just said. And then she goes on to say that what an incredible responsibility he has as president. Well, what an incredible responsibility you have as the representative for America for women's soccer. You know, this isn't the Megan Rapinoe team. This isn't all of this. And we've got another segment here with Rachel Maddow that'll be really good to further this. They took an opportunity to show a unified stance as Americans. They just won the World Cup. Yep. This was an opportunity to go, we're Americans. We're better than you. You know, bam, we're here. We're throwing it down. And they turned it into this social justice, equal pay nonsense. And just watch what she says about how can they fix it. And then I think it's really going to go full circle here. So just watch this.
In the moments immediately following the final whistle, you get that USA, USA chant, but equal pay along that same cadence.
Yeah.
I think fans want to know what they can do to support that fight.
Fans can come to games. Obviously, the national team games will be a hot ticket, but we have 9 teams in the NWSL. You can go to your league games. You can support that way. You can, buy players' jerseys. You can lend your support in that way. You can tell your friends about it. You can become season ticket holders. I think in terms of that, that's the easiest way for fans to get involved.
What groundbreaking thing there. You can watch more, which leads to more ad space, which leads to more revenue. You can buy the jerseys, which also leads to more revenue. This has never been about equality. No. Never. Because if you really break it down, women made 13% of the revenue generated during the World Cup. Men made 9%. Right? The difference is women generated about 131 million, men generated $6 billion. So by her own philosophy of equal pay, they should have made less money. Yeah. Because they should have got 9%. Or God forbid, the men should have got 13, and then they would have made even more money. This has never been about equality. This has never been about sexism or homophobia or whatever this is. They just want more money. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, that's what this is about.
I think it exposes what she said there about they need to spend more money, watch the games. It exposes that the people who are shouting equal pay, they don't care about women's soccer because they're not watching, they're not going to the games, they're not paying for it. So it's just, it's the hot topic of the moment to say, oh, we want equal pay for these women, but like, where were you the last however many years before this World Cup came up? Yeah. Were you going to any games? Were you buying any jerseys? No. So,
Turns out not a lot of people like women's soccer.
I mean, people just don't like it. It's
don't
fine,
watch
but
it.
You don't act like you like it now just because it's the issue to be, angry about.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. Like she's correct in that sense. Like, hey, if you want them to make more money, go to their games, buy the tickets, and so forth. So she's absolutely correct. But the thing is that she's working backwards when people are chanting equal pay, equal pay, equal pay. You got to obviously earn that. You kind of touched on the revenue and whatnot that they make in comparison to let's say the men's national team or their club teams or anything like that. It's not a secret. The fact that people are still screaming out this equal pay, it's been debunked thoroughly time and time again. It makes absolutely no sense, but they keep perpetuating this idea. And that little bit that she said about Trump is always interesting because that's, to me at least, is why I joke and I call them NPCs. Non-playable characters, and that's because it sounds like they're being pumped out of a mill or reading from a script, right? Because it's the same old, you're excluding this. Obviously, she's a white leftist, and she can speak for people of color as well as far as how they feel. She knows a lot about that. But the thing is, like, a person like myself who has been very critical of a Donald Trump and stuff like that, like, I can at least speak of things like of merit, right? I can go to a policy. I can say, hey, this is why I don't, I'm maybe not a fan of you. I'm not fond of you. This is why. But she's just regurgitates the same old nonsense. And this is why we don't, for the most part, take them seriously in their gripes. Because, yes, an athlete now or an entertainer, a musician actually coming out and saying, oh, I don't like Trump. Oh, yes, you're yelling in the echo chamber.
Well, pick something new at this point. What Hollywood elitist, what major highly paid athlete does like Donald Trump these days? It makes no sense. And it's just, to me, they further go along and prove their point that this has never been about anything. Even back to Colin Kaepernick, I said it from the very beginning. I don't believe this is about oppression. I believe Colin Kaepernick wants money. He's made more money not playing in the NFL than he ever did in the NFL. He trademarked his face for a shampoo company bottle that's supposed to be coming out along the way here. Nike had the whole debacle with the Betsy Ross flag. 7 days to the day after all that happened, Nike unveils their newest worldwide commercial. You know what's in the commercial? A 14-year-old Hispanic girl that wants to be a boxer. Do you know what they pan around and zoom in on? Her shoes that are Nike American flag boxing shoes. Look it up right now. 7 days after the debacle
Surely
happened.
that's a coincidence, right?
Surely. Oh, man.
That's not strategic marketing.
That's what I'm trying to say. This is never about, Nike doesn't give a crap about black rights. They don't care about oppression. They don't care about equality. These athletes don't care about gay rights, black rights, equality pay, gender pay. They don't care about any of this. They want more money. And we are feeding just right into it.
Well, and I think, one more point on this I want to get your take on is I saw these memes going around about, Megan and another teammate dropped the American flag. There was a teammate that came in and picked it up off the ground immediately as if she realized, hey guys, we're not supposed to be laying this on the ground. That's disrespectful. Picked it up and, conservatives wanted people to know what her name was. Then there was another article.
Was it Alex Morgan? Wasn't that her name?
I don't know if that was Alex. I don't think that was Alex.
I don't even know who it was.
Kelsey, I don't know. I know. It's like, I don't remember her name.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Right?
They're not putting her on television. They're not putting her on CNN to go up and talk about the win, even though it's clear she loves America. So I saw a tweet and a corresponding article that came out that said that all these conservative people who think that she's the hero, now they realize she's gay. Because there's a picture of her kissing her girlfriend. Now the Trump fans are disappointed.
Who cares? First of all, the whole flag touching the ground thing, I think some people get super bent out of shape. There's some people that say, the United States flag code says that you can't put a flag on a shirt. Well, by that very definition, take out the whole U.S. Army because every single one of them have a flag on their sleeve. If you really know about it, it's actually talking about taking a piece of the actual flag and turning it into, that's neither here nor there. Sometimes in the heat of the moments, people just forget. They space out. They let it touch the ground. I've never been like the,
Right.
But if you watch the video, it wasn't an accident.
No.
They had it in their hand and they deliberately threw it down to do like their little dance move and stuff. And to me, it was less of a just screw America moment, and it was more of a we don't care about America enough. This win was not about America. This was about us. And that was a direct action of a direct mindset that just subconsciously almost happened because your mind wasn't in the right place in the first place.
It's telling that the story that comes out of this whole World Cup win is really an anti-American sort of story. I mean, that's the narrative that we spend most of the time talking about, anti-Trump, gender pay, all this stuff is negative that's coming out of it. It's not about unity. It's not about an American win on a world stage. It's just about negativity.
And it's creating a false narrative, and it's acting as if things exist that don't exist. Like, I don't know Trump fans who hate gay people. I don't know anyone who has a problem with being gay. So the fact that we're having Megan Chick, I'm just going to call her Megan, what's her name, out here talking about how Trump is excluding people. We've got articles now talking about how, they loved, by the way, Kelly O'Hara is her name, the one who picked up the flag.
There we go.
Kelly O'Hara. Thank you, Kelly.
Love the earpiece. There it is. Right there. Yes.
Thank you, control room. Saying that, now conservatives don't like her because they found out she's gay. That's not true. The's no facts.
They never cited an example of that.
Exactly.
It's just
There's no
stereotype,
evidence. And now we're just painted as these, racist, bigoted, homophobic.
Go down the list.
What else? Yeah, let's all the phobics.
Terms, right?
Check those boxes. Ridiculous. All right, we're going to get to Tulsi and Justin Amash when we come back. Before we jump back into the conversation, in case you have not heard, you gotta mark your calendars. March of next year, spring 2020, there is a really amazing cruise taking place that you are not gonna wanna miss. It is called Cruise Through History. They are visiting, well, first of all, look at this. This giant luxury Italian cruise line is going to take you through the Eastern Mediterranean. You're gonna visit Croatia, Greece, Jerusalem. You're just going to visit all of these amazing places with so much history embedded in them. And, you may be thinking to yourself at this point, okay, how do I even begin to, unwrap all of the history that we're going to see when we travel to these places? Well, you're going to have a little help. You're going to have Glenn Beck, you're going to have Stu Burgier, Bill O'Reilly, Rabbi Daniel Lapin, and David Barton over there with you to show you all of these historical landmarks and talk about the significance of them. And then you'll have Stu there to go meet you at the bar later. So it's going to be an amazing, amazing time. Bring your children, bring your grandchildren. I can't think of another time that you're going to have the opportunity to do something like this. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You can go to comesailaway.com. There are a bunch of different packages that you can pick from. But let me tell you, you are not going to want to miss it. Comesailaway.com to pick your package. Hurry up and book it before it sells out. All right, Eric, you said Tulsi Gabbard, who is having a little bit of trouble picking up momentum as a Democratic presidential candidate. She is now throwing her hat in the ring to agree with Justin Amash.
Yeah, and the libertarian in me, I love to see a political shakeup. I always love to see a political shakeup. And with the whole Justin Amash leaving the Republican Party, that in itself was was a bit of
Graham's really sad about that.
Really upset.
Right, him leaving the Republican Party was a bit of a shakeup, and I was reading the other day that Tulsi sort of agrees with his logic, at least surrounding it, regarding the two-party system and how it's not really conducive or productive to, I guess, advancing liberties for Americans. And obviously, I can't help but agree. I think now more than ever, with the rise of social media, and now we have sort of two presidents that have, with President Obama, now Donald Trump, and people are now voicing their opinions. We're able to, even with politicians, because they can just send a tweet, we know what they're thinking. It's a lot more transparent in that regards than what it's ever been. So I think the Donald Trump thing, him getting elected, I would hope that, hey, people would start to question at least maybe the system that we have here, when people are like, all right, well, there's a guy that I dislike so much that's going to be filling this powerful position that, granted, yes, they're over exaggerating a lot of things that he can or he can't do, but just the idea that I would think, hey, something might be wrong here. And unfortunately, we saw this with certainly the last presidential election, at least on the Democratic side, which you had the guys like Bernie Sanders and these sort of guys that seem like outliers.
Yeah.
Sanders, not so much now that we know a little more about him. Right. But we certainly saw how that establishment, the Democratic establishment, pushed him out. Like, hey, we're not going to allow you to win. We're starting to see this sort of with Tulsi as well. Like, a lot of her supporters are like, we know that's not going to happen. They're not going to allow her to win. However, people, because they're so afraid of the other person maybe holding office, they will, even if they don't support this person, be like, hey, I will throw my support behind whoever's a Democratic nominee. Same with the Republican nominee. And I agree with them in the sense that it doesn't really help, because we run that cycle every 4 and 2 years. Like, hey, lesser of the two evils or whatever. And I don't think that that's actually productive in terms of actually moving towards liberty, because what we get is what we have now: a bunch of milquetoast sort of compromising going down, and our liberties are obviously at stake, and they keep chipping away at them time and time again, because we keep putting in people in office just by way of what party affiliation that they're part of.
I agree with you to an extent. I worry, though, that, like, let's say 8 years ago, I was full on board. Let's get, the Libertarian Party to get to run someone that's not kind of crazy and kind of out there, someone who seems sane. Let's talk about independence. But I feel like we've become so polarized, and the left is so scary and dangerous, in my opinion, that I'm almost to the point, well, I should say I am to the point now where I say, let's just get past this election and defeat all of this socialist, agendas. and then maybe we can have that conversation. Do you agree
Well, not
with that at all?
necessarily. I mean, I understand the logic
Yeah,
behind it because
yeah.
you're like, hey, somebody's got to win, right? You
Right,
know
I'm
what
like, I don't want to
Right.
have a spoiler
Right.
that helps
Right.
get
and,
a socialist
And me,
elected.
I'm not as worried about like who, I'm not even a guy that participates in politics that much. I'm more so of the cultural infiltration. That's what I believe. I believe politics is more so the lagging indicator. So this is why I do the music and I do all the YouTubes and stuff like that to try to influence people in that way, because I think if you change the culture by default, people will go support whoever it is that they support. I'm not even a guy. Libertarian Party members probably despise of me because I won't go throw my support behind whoever that it is that they throw in front. But I think that what we're seeing, at least I think that's what we're going to see in the future maybe, is that, all right, we keep kicking that can down the road.
Yeah.
Like, hey, all right, well, we don't want them to win. We want to stomp this out. And unfortunately, what I've seen, and this is why I've had my gripes with the GOP, in a lot of cases, they tend to, at some point in time, start to compromise with them in certain aspects. We've seen this with gun rights here and there. And I actually, I get really triggered. That's one way to get me triggered. It's like, hey, you take the liberty position, and then it's like, well, we think we can get them to shut up. Let's go past this, executive action, bump
Right.
stock ban,
Bump
or,
stocks, yeah.
or whatever, just to get them to shut up. But they never shut up. They never stopped. And that's where I'm at with it. I think that I would be more open to hearing, anybody out, no matter what political affiliation or party affiliation, GOP or what have you, if they were taking that stance, that liberty stance, and were consistent with it and not saying, oh, we just got to stomp them out, we'll compromise here and there. And that to me is just, it's not productive in terms of working towards a more free society.
Yeah.
Do you think that the problem is the parties are too strong and therefore they're squeezing out any ideology that doesn't fit within them? Or do you think that they're too weak and that when a personality comes through the party, a Donald Trump or an AOC or whatever, the party takes on the identity of that person for better or for worse?
Oh, most definitely. I would agree with the latter, because I think that's what we're seeing. We saw that with Bernie Sanders. Even he ran as a Democrat, kind of went back to being an independent, but he pushed that party further to the left. And again, I think that's what we're seeing. So I would agree 100% that that's more so what it is. And I think they don't have like that principled stance, or they don't necessarily take it, and they may run on it. I mean, the old saying, at least, amongst my colleagues, that a lot of Republicans, they run like they campaign as libertarians and then they start governing like Democrats.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I honestly, I see that, you know what I mean? So I think that it is a principle. They have seemingly the right ideas, right? We want a freer society. We want limited government, whatever you think that means. They want the government to be smaller than what it is, have less power than what it has. But yes, you get those infiltrators, Democrats, they've had this throughout the decade that are like, no, socialism was at least a bad term that they wouldn't say. They wouldn't dare say that even maybe a decade ago, that, we don't take that seriously. Even Hillary Clinton with the bat for capitalism at one point, but you have now more than ever, you had the Bernie Sanders, those types rise. They're open, admitted, and AOC open, admitted socialists. Right. This is a relatively new phenomenon in that case, but I think that speaks to your point, in that they are taking that identity. Certainly, they're seeing younger people that are like, oh yeah, this sounds good. Hey, we just steal from rich people, we take their money, they give us all this free stuff. Oh yeah, what's the dislike about that? And yeah, they start taking an identity. So you see that, what is it, reparations? Oh yeah, we'll all adopt reparations. Or free college, you want that? We'll all adopt that. So I think it goes, certainly maybe you can make the case that the Democrats are more guilty of this maybe than the Republicans, but I do think it does go on both sides.
I don't want to cut you off, but I got to take a break. We'll be back. Aaron, I'm going to let you make one final point on this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, the point that Eric made about culture sort of leading politics and politics being a lagging indicator, I think that's really important when it comes to looking at the Democratic Party, because when you look at something like reparations that's now a political issue, I remember years ago reading about that in cultural sort of publications and circles, that being a topic that people were interested in, and now suddenly the Democratic Party is jumping in on that. And so I think it's important for us as Republicans or as conservatives to be plugged into culture and influential in culture in order to make moves in politics.
Eric, got about 10 seconds left. Tell everyone where they can find you.
EricDJuly.com or Twitter, EricDJuly. Young Ripper 59 is, of course, the YouTube, where I talk everything comics to music to whatever I feel like.
All right, go subscribe. Overtime starts next. BlazeTV.com.